Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for Wednesday, the 11th day of September 2013. Taking a look at the National Hurricane Center's homepage. Looks kind of busy out there today, and it is. We have Hurricane Umberto way out in the eastern Atlantic. This will more than likely never affect the United States, but it is probably going to just kind of wander around out here for a while, adding some to the ACE index score. Think of these systems, Umberto and Gabrielle, as players on a team, like a basketball team. And each of these players tries to score a certain amount of points, and they contribute to the overall total of the game. Well, that's what Umberto is doing now that it's up to 80 miles per hour. It is scoring more points than is this weaker 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm Gabrielle. But both of them contribute to the overall score, and in this case it's the ACE index, which is normally about 93 in any given average year. These two will add to it, but Umberto will add a lot more than will Gabrielle, because Umberto is stronger. So think of Umberto as the better basketball shooter who makes a higher percentage of his points, if you get the analogy. But that's how that works, and Umberto is probably going to add to the ACE index for the next week at least. And then we have this area here. Bears watching some of the models showing that it comes over towards the southwest Atlantic, and then it might try to blossom. This system, 93L, I was kind of concerned yesterday that this could get into the Bay of Campeche in such a way that maybe it could come up towards Texas. But let's take a look at the GFS here. This is the 12Z run, brand new run for the day. This is just an hour old or so. And let me show you what the players are, if you will. Going back to that reference, there's 93L, there's Gabrielle, there's the other low that's just mentioned on the Tropical Outlook from the Hurricane Center, and then here is Umberto. So let's go to the next 24 hours. This is the surface map, and this is, again, the 12Z run from today. So we fast forwarded out into time to 24 hours. You see that Gabrielle up here, let's use red, kind of fades away. Umberto still holding on as a hurricane, and this low pressure center still just kind of hanging out down east of the islands. It's interesting, it came across and then got pushed to the southwest by strengthening high pressure out over the eastern Atlantic. And then here's our complex system, part of the energy going into the Gulf of Tehuantepec on the other side of Central America, while the northern part of the tropical wave energy and the trough going into the southern Bay of Campeche. So let's go out another 24 hours to 48 hours, and this would be valid on Friday morning, the 13th of September. Gabrielle now getting caught up in the flow, affecting the Canadian Maritimes eventually. Really no longer any issue. Going to bring some rain squalls up that way, but that's about it. There's Umberto still sitting out there, not moving very much. And then we have very low pressure overall across a large area from the just east of the Caribbean at about 1,007 millibars all the way over into the Bay of Campeche down to about 1,003. Just a large area of convergence or air that's trying to rise, lots of clouds and unsettled weather. If we move on out to 72 hours out into time, and this puts us out to Saturday morning at about 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Now we see maybe something trying to develop in the Bay of Campeche, but it stays south, it looks like, of 20 degrees latitude there. And that's interesting, because if it doesn't gain much more latitude, in other words, if it doesn't get out over the water as much, then it's not going to have a chance to intensify. And what may happen is that the southern part tries to go on and become something in the eastern Pacific. And there's Umberto still hanging around, probably weakening, but still out there. Going out another 24 hours, this puts us at 4 days out, 96 hours out into time. This is the 15th, Sunday the 15th. Low pressure in the Bay of Campeche, but not as robust as other runs of the GFS were indicating. I think that the trough that was supposed to swing through the eastern U.S., not as prominent, not as strong, so the ridging that's down here is going to stay strong enough to keep this forced into the southwest Bay of Campeche, too close to land to really amount to much, but it is going to generate a lot of rainfall and a pretty good easterly flow through here that'll churn up the Gulf of Mexico, probably create some rough beach conditions in Texas and, of course, eastern Mexico. And then we see the Umberto holding on out here at day 4. Finally going out to day 5, 120 hours out into time, and this puts us next Monday, the 16th of September, 8 o'clock in the morning. 5 days out in time. Really don't see much down here compared to what the GFS had originally shown over the last couple of days. So this is going to be interesting to watch. If this gains more latitude, it'll probably develop. If it stays buried over land, well, obviously logic dictates that it won't do much at all. Then we start to see just a little bit of an increase in the lowering of pressures here in the southwest Atlantic. You see that little hump on the isobars there, little wind shift going on. You see the wind coming this way, then it comes that way. So something trying to close off here. We'll watch this closely. And then look, there's Umberto coming around. Interesting that it's going to kind of end up doing this over time. But I think eventually Umberto will get caught up in this next trough that's going to come out and then eventually go on out to sea, and that'll be that. So the next 5 days not looking too bad at all, especially for U.S. interests. Folks in the Yucatan, Central America, over in the Bay of Campeche, and of course eastern Mexico may have to deal with whatever tropical system tries to take shape there. All right? Well, have yourselves a good rest of your Wednesday afternoon. Always good to have things nice and quiet, right? I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, my site. Always an honor to do these videos for you on Hurricane Pro and HD. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow.